Boy, it's hot out there. What is up everyone, Movie back again with another top 10 video. Today it's going to be my top 10 summer themed movies. Now we're having a bit of a heat wave here in the UK. It's hitting record highs, it's absolutely roasting out there, and it just gave me a little bit of an inspiration to do this video. Now I actually like it when I watch these type of films. They can be grand adventures in the outdoors. Some of them can be like really uncomfortable looking, especially if they're horror movies. There might be a few of them in this list, but ultimately these just give me the vibe of summertime. Now, before I get into it, don't forget to leave your top 10 summer themed movies down below and we can discuss it in the comments, and I'll get back to every single one of you, I promise. It wasn't the easiest list to put together because there were so many, and I have to factor in, does it really feel like a summertime movie? But I'm very, very happy with the outcome of this list. So, like I said, don't forget to leave them down below. I would love to hear your thoughts. Let's just get into it now for number 10. Number 10 is going to be The Bibs. Now, this has always given me the feeling of summertime because it's in this little secluded neighborhood in America, in the suburbs, and it's basically everyone is out doing their garden. Everyone seems to know each other in the neighborhood. Lots of joyful characters, and everyone just always seems to be outside. And this is basically a comedy movie starring Tom Hanks when he was doing his early comedy work before he became such a serious actor, like doing The Green Mile and Forrest Gump and stuff. And I really do like some of his early work when it is involving these comedies. And it's basically about him and his group of friends, Rumsfeld and Art, who are just absolutely batshit crazy themselves. And they want to discover the new neighbours who've moved in, the Klopeks, because they've got it in their head that these people might actually be committing crimes and in fact murdering people, because they never really come outside like the rest of the neighbourhood, and they keep themselves to themselves. And you know, the house is still hasn't had a paint job on it or anything, and it just looks so out of place to the rest of this nice looking neighbourhood where all these, you know, friends and neighbours live together.
They're burying him in their backyard. Ray, this is Walter.
No! And it's just a really, really fun film. It's very, very funny at times, and it's just a fun little story to go along with. Joe Dante always makes these fun type of films, doesn't he? Like Gremlins and stuff, and this is no exception. So I highly recommend checking out The Bibs. And apart from one or two rain sequences with the weather and stuff, nearly all of this movie is set in summertime, and Tom Hanks even takes a vacation here, and most people do take them vacations in the summertime, don't they? And he just wants to lounge around his house and stuff. So number 10 is The Bibs. Number 9 is going to be Point Break. Now, not many things point to summer themed movies like the seaside and surfing, do they? And this film does in fact have both, along with a load of bank robberies. Now, this is basically a movie where Keanu Reeves is undercover and he has to infiltrate this surfing gang because he actually believes that this surfing gang led by Patrick Swayze are in fact robbing these banks around the town. And that might sound a little bit ridiculous, but this actually just really works and all comes together nicely. And we've got a few more things that you mightn't think would be involved in this, like Keanu Reeves jumping out of planes and stuff, even though it sounds very simple, where he's just going to infiltrate a bank robbery gang. There's loads of cool ass action surfing scenes here, and we also have a amazing foot chase scene where he's just chasing these bank robbers across town while they're all got these ex-presidential masks on when they rob the bank and stuff. It's a really fun movie from the 90s. I highly recommend it. You know, it's great fun. Point Break has to be in this list at number 9. Number 8 is going to be Friday the 13th. Now, we can't have this list without a movie that takes place at a summer camp now, can we? And Friday the 13th is known very, very largely for taking place in Camp Crystal Lake. And it's just basically about all of these, you know, these teenagers who are in the camp, and a tragedy happened there years ago where this young boy drowned, and a little bit of revenge is taking place here, where the camp counselors are starting to be picked off one by one, and I've always loved this movie. It's one of the very first horror films I ever watched, and it did actually scare the shit out of me back in the day. But this is definitely a summer themed horror movie, you know, it's just always in summertime, it's always bright, and the teenagers bouncing around with hardly any clothes on, so that'll tell you, you know, everything you need to know there. Lots of great kill scenes in this. I can never ever lie backwards on a bed now, because when Kevin Bacon gets that spear through his neck and stuff. And I do like the way it's a little bit of a mystery, because we don't actually see the killer until towards the end of the film, and it's all done from a first person point of view. But I love horror movies that take place in summer camp. Big shout out to The Burning as well, which is another really great film that is kind of like Friday the 13th. But I had to put that in here at number 8. Number 7 is going to be Stephen King's It, not the remake or the reimagining if you like, but this is the miniseries from 1990. This is a film I have watched countless times, and I always got this summer vibe from it, because it's about a bunch of kids finding out what is terrorising their community, but it sort of acts like an adventure movie within a horror film, and a lot of it does take place towards the end of the school term and over the summer holidays when they broke up from school. And I really like the dynamic of these characters when they are older and they have to think back to when they were kids over that summer. And there's a few times where characters actually refer to them, you know, being lucky that summer, or we became great friends that summer. So this is one that I've always, you know, enjoyed over the summertime. And Pennywise is just an awesome villain. Yeah, I know I've put another horror film in here. There might be a couple more. But I just love the whole adventure that these kids go on. And then even the second part of the movie, which gets a lot of slack, I think it's actually still quite entertaining, where they come back to this town of Derry. And the town of Derry itself has always intrigued me and always looked like a cool place to live, even though there's this monster feeding on people disguised as a clown. But I always liked the look of it, the way it was filmed and stuff. It was always a place and a location that I would like to have visited. So yeah, it's just about a bunch of kids living their life, living their summertime, living their childhood with a coming of age movie with a dark entity in the background there. So number 7 is Stephen King's It. Number 6 is going to be Midsummer, a very, very controversial pick here. You either love this movie or you absolutely hate it. But me, I absolutely loved it. Ari Aster made 2 absolute bangers here with Hereditary and Midsummer, and I really honestly can't decide which one I like better. They are both brilliant in my opinion, but this is a horror movie that just takes place in broad daylight. I think this movie is in Sweden, where they have a time of the year where it never actually goes dark, and that's where this movie takes place. It's all about this cult type deal that's going on. I think it's a new religion that this guy wants to introduce his friends to, his religion, and they all go along with it and have a holiday over there, but things go wrong very, very quickly, and it kind of takes a lot of inspiration from The Wicker Man. But like I said, the sun is just always beaming on the screen. It's bright as anything in this movie, and I really do love the pacing of it, which, you know something's not quite right, but it just sort of gets you there in blocks, and you just kind of just thinking, where is this going? What is going on in this movie? What are these people up to? And it just really, really intrigued me. And this has an excellent performance from Florence Pugh, who's one of my favourite actresses working today. I absolutely loved her in this movie, and I really do think this has a very strong opening that is very, very sinister and disturbing, to be honest. And the movie just goes from there. But I absolutely love Midsummer. I don't really get why people do not like this movie. I mean, it's a little bit different, but I just loved every minute of it. But there you go, it is a very, very divisive film, so don't take my word for it. If you haven't seen it, make your own mind up. But I absolutely love it, and it had to be in this list. Getting into the top 5 now. At number 5, we're going to have one of my favourite comedies, if not my favourite comedy movie of all time, and that is American Pie 2. So this is about, it's the sequel to the hit comedy from the 90s basically, and it's about Jim and his friends who are thinking of something to do with the summer because Stifler, who hosts these parties, his houses are starting to get raided by the police and stuff, and they can't really have parties there no more, so they decide to go to the lake and stay in this big house between them, and they get jobs and stuff to pay for the rent, but they're going to throw a big party at the end of it and invite everyone from the school and stuff. And basically it is just them having a great time over the summer, but there's so many funny moments in this movie. I absolutely love it where the two lesbian chicks are just toying with them and, you know, just leading them on but really winding them up, and then thinking they're gonna get something and then they have to do something to get that. It's just such a funny moment, and it is all broadcast on the radio at the same time, and some of the characters listening just really make me laugh. There's this guy who takes the walkie-talkie off his son and says, "I think I can fix these," and he's listening in and his wife goes, "Honey, your dinner's ready," and he goes, "I'm not hungry."
Honey, come on, food's ready.
I'm not hungry!
I always love that part. Stifler is just on top form here. One of the greatest movie characters of all time, isn't he? This is just a hilarious comedy. I absolutely love it, and I can just watch it anytime. One of them movies that you can just watch over and over and over again. I used to wear the DVD out of this, so this had to be in there. What a great comedy that takes place over the summertime. American Pie 2. Number 4 is going to be Die Hard with a Vengeance, and this film actually opens up with a song that says "Hot Town, Summer in the City." So this is a sequel to Die Hard, obviously, but it's actually the third movie, and a lot of people argue that this is actually the best one, and I don't actually think that, but I do think it's the most rewatchable movie. Overall, the first one as a film is the best, but this isn't far away in my opinion. This is probably in my top 100 movies of all time. I absolutely adore Die Hard 3. And a lot of people actually say that they'd love to go and visit New York at Christmas time. My wife being one of them, with all the snow and stuff. And I'm just thinking, I want to go in summertime because of Die Hard with a Vengeance. I just think the whole city looks great. The streets are just soaked in sun. And Bruce Willis and Samuel L. Jackson have to run around like lunatics trying to disarm bombs that this guy Simon has put around the city. And they have to play Simon Says and obey all of his orders, or bombs will be going off everywhere. Now, I've just always loved the dynamic, the chemistry between Bruce Willis and Samuel L. Jackson here as well. It might actually be my favourite on-screen duo, and they are the total opposites, and that just makes them argue all the time and stuff. I love the banter they have back and forth.
Hey Zeus, right? John McClane, I owe you one.
Damn right you owe me. You got any idea what those guys are doing in my shop right
Chill
now?
out, hey Zeus.
Chill out, what the...
And it actually makes the movie. But Die Hard with a Vengeance, it's just a brilliant sequel, and one that should definitely be in a summer themed movie, because yeah, the streets of New York are gleaming here. So number 4 is Die Hard with a Vengeance. Number 3 is going to be Jaws. Now, if you think of something in your head, another thing that might come straight to your mind is the beach and seaside towns. And that's what we get here. And this is basically about this very, populated seaside town where all tourists come every summer to basically catch some rays and have a good time on the beach. And the mayor is inviting everyone here because he wants all the tourist attraction. But the only problem with that is he's been warned as well, is that there's a big great white shark lurking right by the shores here where all these people are enjoying themselves. And this shark basically just terrorizes this town and puts everyone on edge. And Jaws is just an absolute masterpiece from Steven Spielberg, isn't it? I mean, a great story. A film in two halves, really, where you got the first half where the shark is just, scaring the shit out of everyone and eating people. Yes, there's a moment where a kid is dragged under the sea there and there's just blood all over the place in front of everyone at the beach, and that moment always never sit right with me. And then we got the second half of the movie where these three friends go out and try and capture the shark and, you know, ease everyone's tensions and save this seaside town, basically. But I'm sure most of you have all seen Jaws. You got some great moments in there. The Indianapolis story that Quint tells, very, very sinister the way he tells it. You've got one of the greatest movie quotes of all time, "You're gonna need a bigger boat." I mean, that is just landed to perfection. Great score, you know, from John Williams there. Everything just comes together beautifully to make one of the best movies ever made, isn't it? And I had to put this in here. If you type in the best summer themed movies on Google, I guarantee that Jaws will be in nearly all of them lists. So number 3 is Jaws. Number 2 is going to be Stand By Me, one of my most rewatched films of all time. And this is another coming of age movie where 4 friends hear about this dead body, and this dead body has not been found. So this kid who's gone missing, and they know where this dead body is, so they want to go and search for it and bring him back and be heroes in their little local town of Castle Rock. And this is the definition of a summer themed movie. It really is. I mean, I think it's during the school term as well. I think it's between the kids going from one school to junior high, so they're taking a big step in their lives after this summer, and it does define coming of age, doesn't it? But you got great chemistry between all of these 4 characters. You love each one of them for what they are. You got the crazy guy Teddy, the smart guy Chris, who's a bit of a villain to the town, really, even though, you know, people are just percepting him that way. You got Gordy, who wants to be this writer, and you got Vern, who's the little scaredy cat. And it's just, they all just work together so well. So many great moments, like the train coming and they have to run across the bridge before the train hits them. You got villains in there with Keith Sutherland and his gang, who are trying to get to the body first, but they're cheating by using a car, and the other guys have got to go all the way on foot following these train tracks. But one of my favourite parts of this movie is where Gordy, the guy who wants to be the writer who narrates this film, tells a story about a pie eating contest, and it just takes you away from the adventure just for a little bit there for 10 minutes, and you just have such a great time with this pie eating contest story. But overall, this is just a fantastic adventure movie. It really is, and if you haven't seen it, I highly recommend it. Another one that would easily be in my top 100 films of all time. So number 2 is Stand By Me. Number 1 though is going to be my favourite horror film of all time, The Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Now when I watch this, I really do feel the heat coming out of the TV screen, because all these characters in this just look like they've got the clothes sticking to them, they're sweating all the time, and the debacle that they find themselves in with this guy running around with a chainsaw trying to kill them just even turns the heat up even more, doesn't it? So it's basically about this group of friends who go and see an old relative's house, and just a little bit further over the way, this absolutely crazy family live, and they do encounter them. But it's very well known that when this movie was getting made, all the cast members were struggling with the heat, so I think that's another reason why you can actually feel it. You know, the outback of Texas is just one of the hottest places in the world, isn't it? Let's be honest. And the whole countryside look of it just gives off that summer vibe even more there. And the end of the movie where Sally is just screaming and screaming and screaming is more than acting. The heat actually got to her on set, and she was actually really frustrated, and you can really see that in her eyes, because it was done over a 24-hour period, because the filming times that they had were running out and they had to get it done in this last day. And it's just absolutely one of them films where, you know, you get a sweat on watching it, basically. But other than that, it's an absolutely terrifying movie. It's a film where humans are the bad guys in this. It's not a ghost, it's not an entity, it's humans, and that's what makes this film scary for me. So if there's one location I could visit throughout film history, it would be this house in Texas. I just think that would be a great location to go to. But I was always going to put this as number one. My favourite horror film of all time, it just had to be, is the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and number one for my summer themed movies. Okay guys, I hope you all enjoyed this summer themed movies. Maybe not the most definitive list out there, but this is just my personal opinion, isn't it? Like I said, leave your comments at the bottom of the video for any summer themed movies that you like that I may have missed and you may remind me. I'll get back to you all, I promise, like I always do. And if you want more top 10 videos, they will be down below as well. Take it all easy guys, and I'll see you all in the next video.